What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, so we're going to start this one off with an update from Urs Kalecinski. Now, for the past couple of days, there's been some rumors going around online about how Urs actually will not be competing in the Arnold Classic Ohio. And this comes at a time when we're seeing a lot of competitors dropping out of this Arnold Ohio coming up, mainly in the open category. I'll get to some of that here in a minute. Now, this rumor seemed to have started when Chris Aceto said that Urs would not be competing in the Arnold Classic Ohio. He mentioned it on the most recent episode of Heavy Muscle Radio, the long-standing show with Dave Palumbo and Chris Aceto. It's been running for actually over 10 years. Anyway, it would seem that Chris Aceto claimed to have some insider information, which was absolutely incorrect, because like I said, Urs said himself that he will be at the Arnold Classic Ohio. In this day and age of visa issues and things like that, it certainly would not be out of the question for anyone outside of the United States to maybe not make it in here. But we have never heard of any problems with Urs making it into the United States, and it seems that it's not a problem now. And Urs has a really good shot at least taking second place in this show. I mean, when you look at who else is actually in the lineup, you've got Ramon Dino. And yeah, Ramon, he's the heavy favorite to come in and win the show. He won it last year. I expect him, to be honest with you, to come in and win it again this year. But Urs, I don't know. He looks like he's just really on another level. Everybody's been talking about how Ramon Dino is looking absolutely massive right now, and I agree. He absolutely is. But with Urs, I just see a level of concentration and intensity in his training. We're not really getting any recent physique updates as of the last little bit here, but you can even see, his forearms are absolutely shredded, you guys. So this might be the year that Urs Kalecinski comes in and shocks the world and defeats Ramon Dino. Ramon Dino to Urs is like what Chris Bumstead is to Ramon Dino. He's got to defeat him. And once he does, I think that it's going to put Urs on another level. So let's just call that rumor debunked right now. Urs Kalecinski will be at the Arnold Classic Ohio. Alright, next up, we do have confirmation after rumors circulating online again. Confirmation straight from the source that Rubiel Mosquera will not be competing in the Arnold Classic. And you guys, this is really unfortunate because everyone was really anticipating him to not only show up at this show, but to do really well. So he said here, important update, due to unexpected visa challenges and readiness, now keep that in mind, I'm stepping back from competing at Arnold Sports in Ohio, USA this year. My sincerest apologies to Arnold Sports and all my supporters. My journey to the stage is on hold, but the dream lives on. Grateful for your endless support and looking forward to blah, 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 blah. Anyway, you guys, look, this comes right down to the fact that we are still seeing visa issues from some of the top athletes in the sport. Rubiel being from Colombia, I was a little bit more hopeful that he wasn't going to be dropping out of this show because I didn't know that Colombia had any difficult relations with the US when it comes to a visa. But the visa issue is one thing. He also spoke about readiness here. Now, if you look at some of these updates here, the question is, did Rubiel really look ready to come in at his very best on that Arnold Ohio stage? And I think that that's kind of a hard question to answer when it comes to some of these updates. It looks like he has more detail in the quads than what we saw in the Prague Pro where he made his pro debut. But I don't know, you guys. I do think that he probably would have ended up finishing within, top 5 most definitely. But top 3 was one of the questions that we really all wanted to have answered. Could this basically rookie in the IFBB Pro League come in and really dominate right out of the gate? Similar to what we saw with Nick Walker. Now, we'll get to Nick here in a second. But the fact of the matter is, this is another competitor. This is now 2. We had Andrew Jack, and now we have NeckZilla. Andrew Jack wasn't going to compete simply due to the fact that he just needed an off season, and he really hasn't taken one in a couple of years, so I get that. But when it comes to this here with Rubiel, it's not completely unexpected because there was an asterisk next to his name when it came to the actual poster that the Arnold Sports Fest put out there, but still, it's really unfortunate that we won't see this guy actually grace that stage. Now, although he may not have felt ready to compete at the Arnold Ohio, what's to say that he couldn't be ready to go and compete at, the Arnold UK? I do think that with an extra couple of weeks, that he probably could be ready. He doesn't look that far off for, say, 6.5, 7 weeks out, 8 weeks out, whatever it is. Maybe that's a show that he could end up doing. Maybe he wouldn't have an issue getting into the UK. But listen, you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. This is now 2 very highly anticipated athletes that have dropped out of the show. Alright, last up, we've got an update here from Nick Walker. Now, there's been a lot of questions ever since Nick actually tore his hamstring before the 2023 Olympia. What is going to happen with Nick Walker in 2024? Well, Nick finally came out and he gave us some very firm answers. We had the question of Nick coming in to try and win a second Arnold. There was the question of him coming in and trying to get that special invite, but it would seem at this point, Nick Walker has other plans for 2024. Check it out here.
Nick Walker's game plan, competing wise. Is he low key jumping into the Arnold? Is he getting an invite? What's going on? There is no Arnold for me. That's just too soon. And there is no invite. And honestly, I'd rather earn my qualification. And once I earn that qualification, I am going to win and come back strong, better than where I was going to be last year, and get the Mr. Olympia title. That's how this is going to go. That being said, I think 2 of these is better than 1. I'll see everybody at the New York Pro. Y'all better be ready for it, because you know I will be.
And you know, this is really the direction that I did want to see Nick go for 2024. I didn't want to see him just handed a special invite just because he tore his hamstring last year. Nor do I think that that would be a good enough reason to even get a special invite. You know, it is kind of funny though. Does anybody remember this interview with Ron Harris shortly after he tore his hamstring? He actually did this interview at the Olympia. Check out what Nick had to say about a special invite at that point.
I say if anyone should get a special invitation to the Olympia, because I've seen some kind of shaky reasons for people to get invited. This is probably the most legitimate reason I could think of. If they offered, would you take it?
For the Olympia?
A special invitation?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to be arrogant, but I think I deserve one, to be honest. Because it wasn't like I dropped out, right? Like this is something I couldn't control. This is beyond my control. And I like to think I bring a lot of excitement to the shows as well. So, with how good this prep was and how everything was going, I personally say my competitors are very lucky I'm not doing it this year.
Now look, the injury was still very fresh. I'm sure that Nick was not necessarily able to really process what happened, and he just wanted to get on that stage. So I understand why he kind of had this attitude at this point after he tore his hamstring. But look, I am very, very excited to see Nick Walker grace that New York Pro stage. And I think that that's the proper stage for him to actually do. I mean, you've got the Olympia, the biggest show in the world. You've got the Arnold Classic Ohio, second biggest show in the world, basically. But the New York Pro has always been regarded, basically, as the 3rd best show in bodybuilding. I mean, it was called the Night of Champions for years because all of the best guys would show up to that show. Now, I believe it was confirmed that NeckZilla was actually going to go and compete at the New York Pro as well. Whether or not he makes it to that show at this point is definitely in question, but we do know that Tonio Burton will be there. And the comparison between Nick Walker and Tonio Burton, you guys, that is going to be a comparison for the ages. 2 New York Pro champions, both with very, very different physiques, battling it out, I think, for 1st and 2nd place. But I don't want to count out a guy like Tonio Burton, who is still making massive, massive improvements. Tonio has not been injured in the past 4 months. He definitely is making improvements. And you know what? I really do think that we will see the biggest and best version of Tonio Burton on that New York Pro stage, standing next to potentially the best Nick Walker that we've ever seen. So you guys, get ready for the New York Pro. This is a huge announcement, and the 2024 bodybuilding season continues to ramp up to be one for the history books. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning into EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.